How are you doing today? I wanted to do something a little different than what I usually do. This one's going to be mostly writing sample. I always see a lot of posts on Fountain Pen Network talking about the Naginata Togi, and I happen to have a King of Pen professional gear version, so I actually have two here. I've got one that is the medium nib, and the other one is just a standard medium nib. So these are the Pro Gear um, professionals, professional gear. So here is the Naginata Togi, and this is a medium version. So let me get that here. Yeah, change the light up a little bit here. I guess it'll be a little better like this. Fighting some lighting issues today. So you can see the nib. It is better just to do up here. It has a very different shape to it. There's a good view of the tip. You can see it's very different shape compared to a normal nib. So once again, this is the medium Naginata Togi, and this is part of the Bespoke collection. I will show you a standard medium, which I have on the Demonstrator version. The Demonstrator version is really cool because you can see they actually use a cap system that's pretty similar to the Platinum slip and seal. So let me take that out. Here is a standard medium. See, it's much smaller amount of tipping material on the pen. So let's do a writing sample. I'll do with the medium first. These are both Sailor inks, so they should be very similar in their qualities. Let's just do first. You can see these are huge nibs. I love very similar to a 149 Mont Blanc. So alright, so there's your standard medium. So let's do just a couple downstrokes here, a couple side strokes. Obviously no line variation. I don't really flex my pens or try them, but you can see they're pretty standard. Japanese medium is pretty similar to a Western fine. So, not extremely wet, not extremely dry, just very good flow. I do know a little hiragana, so I might do a little bit of that especially when I show the Naginata Togi. But you can see it's just standard. Nothing too crazy about it. Just a good everyday writer. Works well with cursive. Works well with Japanese. Pretty smooth, not the smoothest nib, but like I said, it's a Japanese medium, much more like a Western fine, but just beautiful nib. Cool to see the Demonstrator version. So now we'll go to the Naginata Togi. Interesting story with this pen. I'll show you that slip and seal cap style here. As you can see, it engages it and then pushes up. So let me get it straight on. You can see it moving there. So, haven't used this pen in several months, and you could see it just started right up. So, cap system definitely works. Alright, so this is the Naginata Togi. Yeah, much better lighting like this. Okay, you can see much different tip shape, very long on the tipping material. And we'll do this. All right. So I'm actually quite happy that this pen pen started up right away. And I'll get to that in a second. And we're going to do actually quite a bit of writing with this, but just do some Japanese characters here. You can see there is a definite sweet spot on this pen. So you definitely need to be holding the pen the right way. If you turn it, it just seems to lose the writing. So you can see Naginata Togi medium, it is much more medium to broad, especially with that large size nib. You can see it lays down quite a bit of ink compared to the medium. So there you go. This is just some standard copy paper. So let's get into what the Naginata Togi is actually known for, and that is the line variation. So you can write upside down with it, and it's actually extremely smooth, quite surprising. So you can see it's perfect upside down, and then you can write straight up. This is at a 90-degree angle. See, it's a little thicker. We'll go more to like a standard writing angle. And then we'll go to the low writing angle. And that's about the lowest I can write. I mean, you can get ridiculous. There's really low. I mean, you really have to make an effort to get your hand to write that low. And so here you can see the different characteristics, the different writing angles. So your upside down is very similar to the standard medium, as you can see. So it almost feels like the medium is the upside down. And like I said, it's extremely smooth. You could write like that all day. It's totally fine. You got the straight up and down 90, the standard writing angle, low writing angle, then a really low. But as you've noticed, this pen is a little finicky on the writing angle. So, you know, when I write Japanese, I do write more straight up and down, and it is much more reliable. Have no issues, you know, hard starting. You get a little lower, you can see how low, you know, it's see, it gets a little finicky if you get off that sweet spot. So, I mean, it really, I think the standard right angle is about it. So this is the lowest angle I would write with. I mean, you can write low, but it's just, as you can see, you got to be very careful with how you hold it to get it to write. You really have to think about it. So I use it, like I said, mostly when I'm doing my Japanese writing, and I use it at a much higher angle, and you can see how thin you can get those lines. Once again, upside down, even thinner. So, you know, quite the difference in line variation. And I'll try and do one of these low to high. You can see you get some variation there. It is supposed to be like a brush. It does take some practice, but you can see you can start high and then go down to a point. So it's very interesting. Like I said, some people do use these for everyday writers. It is a very smooth, probably the smoothest sailor I have for just normal writing. But you can see it lays down a lot of ink. It's very broad. You know, it's probably, if it was, this is probably similar to like a double broad pilot. So it is very broad, just at a normal writing angle. I have seen some other videos of people go all the way down And this pen doesn't write at that angle. It stops about right there. Really just doesn't write lower than that angle, which is fine with me. Like I said, I can't even write that angle normally. And these are bouncy nibs, so I mean you can flex them. I don't. Does sound like a marker when you write with it. But it's just, it's interesting to see the line variation you can get. It just seems to get finicky when you try and go for those lower angles. So an interesting story about this pen. I got this from Anderson Pens, and when I got it, it would not write at all. I took it apart, let Brian Anderson know there was an issue with it, pulled the nib and feed, there was white paste in there, and it was clogging the channel in the feed. So what happened is I did clean that out, and I found the paste is very similar to what they use in the section to hold this on, because this does all come apart. So I got that cleaned out. It did write a little better, but it still was having ink flow problems. I did send it back to Brian, and he took care of it. There was some baby's bottom. Like I said, he took care of it very quickly and had it back to me, and it's been pretty good since then. Like I said, I have no issues with normal writing. It's just when you go those really low angles that it has, I can't even, you have to hold the pen so far back, it's not even practical. So I have no issues with my normal writing. Like I said, I use it mostly for Japanese and kind of learning my hiragana. So it worked extremely well for that. You get some good line angles and changes, and it's just a real fun pen to use. Don't know if I'd use it for every day, but it is fun, especially keeps me motivated to practice my characters, motivated to write my characters and practice that. So interesting pen. Like I said, a little different. I like the size of these pens, and cool to kind of have the clear version, so you can see what's actually inside. But I just want to show those to you once again. These are the King of Pen Professional gears, the Demonstrator in a medium, and the Naginata Togi one in black. So thank you very much.